Want to welcome everyone to come for this webinar. Thank you so much, Tonya. Tonya was one of our keynote speakers for the Santa Barbara Business Expo. And I was just thinking of the words that just came to my mind when I think of Tonya. So I'm going to just read those off. So I have dynamic, honest, genuine, trustworthy, high energy, friendly, authentic, and exemplary. And if you look up exemplary, it says serving as a desirable model, representing the best of its kind. So here's Tonya.
Oh, that was awesome. Like the best introduction I've ever gotten. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here. There's going to be lots of information, and anytime you want to reach out, please reach out. I love connecting with people and helping. Like Sandy said, I love going around and meeting fabulous new people and looking at how can I help? How can I bring the information that I've learned to them? Because, you know, we all start out with nothing, and anyone who says they started out with everything is lying, okay? Even those that are really wealthy and they send it to their kids, they still start out with zero. You've got to learn and you've got to grow and you try new things and then you tweak and then you keep going from there. So today we're talking about passive income, kind of that elusive, how do I make one thing and then not have to touch it again? And it just keeps making me money. Because a lot of times people may make something, but it never keeps making them money because there's no promotion of it and no one ever knows about it. I see that happening a lot. A lot of times people will think about making something and never quite finish it because there's always that sticking point of, I'm not sure if this is something that people are going to want and will buy. And then how much do I charge for it? So we're going to cover all of those kind of things today. So I like watching trends. I've owned besides owning the Public Speakers Association, I've owned a website software app development company since 2005. So I love watching trends because if you notice, trends change dramatically fast. I mean, it's just like 1 minute you're like, oh, let's try this. And then you're like, what do you mean? No one's using that anymore. So it's always trying to be about keeping up with what's working, what's not. And as small business owners, we're like the last people to know. By the time we see somebody doing something, realize, hey, that's kind of cool, I should do that myself, and then actually implement it, the trend's gone. And it's frustrating because we're needing to get out there. We're needing to see what do we need to be doing to improve our own lot in life, right? Our own business. So one of the things that I think hurts most entrepreneurs is they think tiny, not even small. They think really tiny, right? I was talking to a realtor and she's like, I just want to be the best. And she said second best, but I corrected her. The best realtor in this neighborhood, which is great to niche yourself, but sometimes we over niche ourselves. There's a lot of people out there talking about target marketing, and you got to niche yourself way down and down. And it's good to narrow it, but a lot of times we're fabricating who our target market is instead of who really is our target market. So it's important to know realistically who is that perfect person who's going to be drawn to you. So the first thing you need to think about is not, I'm looking for women between the age of 45 and 65 that make over $80,000 a year that are motivated to do something different. Okay, that's like everybody's target market. I started realizing that every time I ask someone who someone's target market is, that's what they would say. I'm like, so everyone's got the same target market? What I like doing is looking at the core value of people's soul. Because I love filtering people out that don't match me. That's why on my website and everything that I do and I go speak, I have 2 rules. The first rule, you have to be nice. No mean, grippy, negative people are allowed. Second rule, no perfect people, please. Now, at first, people are like, that's your target market? I'm like, oh yeah. it's important to me to first see someone's soul. What are they really like? Because even though they may be the perfect target, you know, maybe if it's for the Public Speakers Association, so maybe I meet a speaker and everything looks perfect, but then I get into them and they're a diva or a divo, and it's all about them, and they don't really care about anybody in the audience. They just want to make money. I don't want those people around me or anybody else that I'm connected to. I want really nice people. So first of all, you got to do is figure out what's your 2 non-breakable rules, right? Your unbreakable rules. Now, you do have to remember, first of all, you can't break your own rules. So don't pick something that you're not willing to do yourself. The next thing is realizing that those rules, you do have to kick some people out. And what's interesting about my rule of being nice is a lot of people don't realize they're not being nice. So what's really interesting about my rules is a lot of times when I tell somebody, oh, you really don't fit my rule, they're like, I'm the nicest person I know. And then I give them why people are saying that they're not. And then most of the time, like 90% of the time, they do a 180 because they don't even realize how they're showing up. So sometimes your rule can actually change people's lives. Just saying. Now, when you figure out who that target is, now you've got to figure out how to reach more people. So the lady who just wants to do business with the neighborhood, yeah, she could put out flyers. She could do things within the neighborhood. If they have a little neighborhood, you know, magazine or something like that, she could do an ad in there. But realistically, that kind of stuff doesn't really work a lot. And she's really limiting herself to such a small group of people. I like to look at the world. So when I started kind of noodling a new idea, I noodle a lot. So I noodle a new idea, I look at global perspective because the world is so connected now. Someone just introduced me to a guy in England that I already know. Now this person is in the middle of Utah. How did what? Right? We just are global now. Because of the internet, it has opened up the world, including phones, right? We've got to remember that, think about how many times you use your phone a day. How many times do you actually use it as a phone, right? Calling somebody. Like Sandy just called me. That was probably my first phone call today, even though I've been on it like all day. So when we start looking at the perspective, we got to start thinking, how do people actually want the information you have? Like we were talking to Rhonda, and she's a life coach. So think of all those people out there that you could truly change their life. Oh my gosh, every time I go to an airport, I look around like, there are hundreds and maybe even thousands of people in this airport, and I don't know them, and they don't know me, and I could change their life today. It's kind of the perspective that I look at. Every time I walk into a Starbucks, usually I know at least one person or so, but most of the people I don't know, I could change their life. So you start looking at the broader picture of the internet, social media, which includes YouTube. A lot of people don't think about it as a social media platform. It really is. And then your phone. Internet, phone, social media, all of that stuff. And what you can do is create some really awesome passive income, because if people can see you enough, they will buy things from you. And with the systems out there, you can simply put the information out and people can click on it to get more info. But what most people do is they take the personality out of the passive information. A lot of times people come from corporate. And so you're like, I've got to make sure everything is perfect so that no one giggles at me, right? That people take me seriously. They already take you seriously. People don't want the starched, here is the information that you need to go with no smiles, you know, no blinking. They don't want that kind of person anymore. They want real people. They want people that scratch their head, and they want people like the other day I did a webinar. Brilliant moment. I couldn't even pay for this moment. Is suddenly I'm talking away and I'm doing some training, and then all of a sudden my cat comes up and you see suddenly a tail going across the screen. And people are like, what was that? And so I picked her up and I was like, here's Chai Chai. And she has her little face. She's like, leave me alone, right? It was brilliant. That is what people want. I even had somebody on the call that said, are you going to leave that in, or are you going to, delete that from the recording? I'm like, oh, I'm leaving that puppy in there. Barking dogs, perfect. Kids that come around the corner and they're like, Mom, can you fix me something? You're like, how many people have to deal with that, right? So you can use those experiences to show people you're real. People want to do business with people they like, they know, and they trust. So video is massively important because people want to see eyeballs. Now, you don't have to be perfect. Your background doesn't have to be perfect. A few things have to be adjusted. Dirty dishes, giant paper stacks, clean things up a little bit. Don't wear pajamas. It's just logic, right? And especially if you're a woman, never show your bedroom. Okay? Never show a bed. We are still talking about complete strangers. So you just take some precautions. But don't let fear keep you from going out there and changing lives. Each one of you has real great content that could change somebody's life today if you were just in front of them. Now, I had to get over being a complete introvert. And I love showing everyone the picture of me as an introvert, because most people are like, what? Because you just see me at the end of, or I still think it's the middle of my journey, but you don't see me going through that whole process. So I like showing it. So this is me in 2005, Leander Chamber of Commerce, holiday gala. Ladies, this is what I wore to a gala. See how many sparkles are there. Complete introvert. I would stand up in front of 5 people, do an elevator pitch at a small little networking group, and I would just shake and sweat. It was horrible. So we've got to get through that. The first video I did was like, hello, I am Tonya Hofmann. How are you today? I mean, I turned into like a little robot. My eyes are like huge. We all go through it. We all have the head trash saying that we're not good enough, or, oh my gosh, what will people think of my big nose or my teeth or whatever, right? We get all stuck in our head instead of starting to look at, I can change somebody's life today. I can have impact today. How is this going to all happen, right? So you have to get through it, and you got to do video. Once you realize you're just talking and people are loving you for being you, you don't have to have my personality. You don't have to have Sandy's amazing personality. You don't have to have somebody particular's personality to do video. You just need your own. If you suddenly start sounding so professional or sounding like somebody else, people know it, and you won't have any sales. You won't have anything happen from that. So be yourself, and people will connect to you. There's a gentleman who's a client of mine. He's hilarious because he has no expression. He barely blinks. He has a monotone voice. I mean, he's like a little robot. And he's like, how can I do a video, Tonya? Because, I mean, he doesn't smile or anything. So we figured out, what does he love? He is a total geek. So he started this whole kind of robot TV show. And so he has this whole personality of people who love that dry, very plain, almost robotic, you know, you will attract the people who you're supposed to attract. And all the other people, who cares? I always remember that 25% of the people who see you, who hear from you, are not going to like you. And it used to really bother me because I'd be like, oh, what do I need to change to make things happen for myself? How can I make those people like me? I was really into the, oh, someone doesn't like me. What is there not to like about me? What can they possibly not like about me? And I don't want to change myself. Until one day I had this kind of realization, oh my gosh, those 25% of the people that don't like me, I don't like them either. So why do I care? So I started gifting myself and them the ability to go away from me. I mean, that's why the best 2 buttons ever invented is block and delete. Use them generously. Because what you want to do is you want to create a community of people that fit you, that love you, that you're building that community so strong. And it's about that drawing in because you're authentically you. There's no one else in this world that was born as you except for you. Even if you're a twin, that other person's, they may look like you, but they're not the same, right? So you got to look at video as a massive way to get a lot of exposure and get people to see your eyeballs, which means that they're going to immediately love you or not. They're going to either be drawn into you or not. And that means they're either going to buy from you or not. Okay. So you got to release that. I want every single person to buy from me. No, you don't. Never. You want to get rid of the other people. Because those are going to be people that, you know, are going to leave you bad comments or want a refund. Let them go. Now, what do you create passively? You know, I started looking at helping people a lot with this because I'm creating a phone app called the Wowdable. It's like wow and incredible together, Wowdable. And so I was like, high impact videos. Ooh, that would be really good. Because what people don't, I look at what I do. And then I ask people if they do the same thing. Because not everything I do, everybody else does, right? And what I found is that most people go to YouTube. They're trying to find how to do an Infusionsoft email or something, right? And so they go to YouTube, they get someone, they're like, ooh, here's a 30-minute presentation. And the person starts talking and they're talking. And then you're scrolling through trying to find the 3 minutes of the actual information you need. This is what I do. And I was like, does everybody do this? And so what I realized is that most people, the real content is in about 3 to 5 minutes. So go ahead and give people that. Boom, there you go, there's your information. Now you gotta get them to buy something from that. And because you're doing video, they can see your eyeballs, you warm up really quickly, and they get to know who you are through your personality. And you're already credible because you're already on video and they're not, okay? So what do you sell from that video? This is what you would create for a passive income. So you look at things like checklists, assessments, templates, formulas, you know, ebooks, things like that. Things that you can make once, put as a PDF, and be done with. So they watch the video, and then of course during the video, you're telling them how to do it. So this is the part that a lot of people mess up on. Is you also want to get rid of the DIYers, the people who will do it themselves, okay? You want those people to go ahead and do it themselves. So say you're doing a checklist on how you're going to send out an email campaign, and you're telling them, here's what you need to do. This is going to be your subject line. And that's all you're going to talk about that day, is what the subject line will look like. These are the words you don't use, and these are the words you will use. And you're telling them all about it, and they're like frantically trying to write it all down. And then right afterwards, a little ad pops up that says, oh, just download all the words for $2. Now, this is really important because too many times we want to create things with high dollar amounts, because that's what a lot of the coaches are training people. Sell a $10,000 program. What happens though, there's only so many people out there that can spend 1,000, 10,000, 500, name the price. But the world is teaching us to spend $5, $2, $1, $10, like a drop of the hat. I just went to a coffee shop, you can imagine which one, and I bought my latte. And the latte was $5.90. Now, I remember way back in the day when $5.90 used to mean an entire meal for the whole family. Now, I spend $5.90 like that on a drink. They've been teaching us to spend these micro amounts without even a second thought. If you see games in your phone, they're also teaching people to spend money in small increments. So download any game, and you'll get to the point in that game where you'll lose, and an ad will pop up and say, for $2, you get to try again. And you're gonna click on that, and guess what? Google and iPhones have made it super easy to click on a little button, and it's done. And boom, there's your next spin, or your next roll, or whatever you're doing. Now, when I started realizing this, what a lot of people don't want to think about is the accumulation of a lot of people. So that $2 turns into a lot of money, right? There's that correlation. And you may be going, well, I only have 250 people on Facebook. So, you know, if 10% buy, that's only 25 people. And if it's $2, that's only $50. Why would I go through all that work? Well, yeah, exactly. So it's all a numbers game. And you also have to get connected to people with huge databases. Now, I have a few friends, and even for my phone app, right? So I've realized that I have about 10 million people that as soon as my phone app is ready, I'm gonna get to push it out to. Why? Because all my friends said, yes, I will help you push it out, and they have 1 million people in one Facebook group, that kind of thing. So it gives me an opportunity to get people exposure, which I know is one of the hardest things for small businesses to do, because I know I started, you know, you see me, I started with 0, right? And back in 2005, Facebook wasn't even around, right? So that was probably, what was that one? Meet something. Anyways, so you got to look at connecting with people that have larger databases so that your sell for $2, $5 goes out and gets duplicated. And I also like doing series. So say if you're doing a whole series on, we were talking about email marketing. So say you did a title. So one little short video about what kind of title do you need your email to read so people will open it, right? And then the next video would be well, what do you need to actually put in the body of your email? And what do you don't put? Here's a template you're gonna sell that they can just plug and play. And then the next email would be okay, how are you gonna build your list, your email list? What do you need to do to start building your email list? And so then you would tell people, this is the steps you need to take to start building that list. And then the next video, you see, so it's all sequential. You start with the easiest thing for them to do first, right? Don't ever start with the hardest. Start with the easiest thing, because people have to feel like they can accomplish something. Okay, so same thing as speaking on stage. You don't ever talk about the hardest thing to do. You talk about an easy thing that people are like, oh, I could do that. And then they're ready for the next little bit harder thing, and then the next little bit harder thing, right? So you're just constantly moving them to, oh, I can accomplish anything. because they got to absorb that information. So you're bringing people through the process, and then each time you get an ad, which is your passive income. It's going out to a massive amount of people because you can JV partner with people. My husband's sneezing. And so you can JV partner with people. What does that mean? So you would connect with people that have the exact same target market as you. So say you're like, Sandy, who is your target market? And Sandy's like, oh, I have people that do this, this, and this. What's your core value, right? What does it really mean for your people? And then how does that equal out? Is it the same people? Is it not? I was on a call the other day with a lady, and she's like, it's like, oh yeah, my 2 rules, and I give her my 2 rules. She goes, oh, well, you can just send me all the other people because I don't care if they're, you know, nice or not. If they just want to make money, I want to have them. I'm like, she is definitely not a person I want to connect myself to, and I don't want any of her people, because that's people hang around the same type of people. So I don't want to start doing business with her and then suddenly get all of her people interested in me. They could be interested in me. They could be wanting my product. I don't want them to. You got to be protective about your business. Okay? So you create something that's micro, and then it builds, because people will spend a little bit of money, and before they know it, they're spending a lot of money with you. You can do bundle packages. Oh, if you didn't buy any of those other, you know, things so far, here's a bundle package, and you get a big sale, a big, you know, discount. So there's ways to do it so that it's totally building on top of each other. Another example, I have a friend who never capitalize the whole never. Never spends money on coaches, building her business. I mean, zippo. She went to an event the other day, and the lady who was speaking and doing the training was selling micro items. So the lady was buying $5, $2, $7, $10. When my friend left that event, she called me up. She goes, you won't believe it, Tonya. I spent $150 at this event. I cannot believe it. And I was like, why did you spend $150? She goes, well, everything was so affordable. It was $2 and $5 and $10, right? Because we all have that mindset. We're not spending money if it's under $25. Because again, Starbucks has taught us that it's no big deal. The games on our phone has taught us that it's no big deal. So we're using the reality of how people buy now, even if you don't. My mother is a perfect example. She has downloaded games and has never, ever spent money on an extra spin or to buy an extra round or whatever. So it's against her whole principle. To me, I'm just supporting the people who's created something that I have fun with. Okay. Is my mother a good target market for the game developers? No. She'll never spend money. It's just not in her genes. That's what she says. But will my mother spend on things at a retail store in the sell section for us all the stuff that nobody wanted? Heck yeah. Oh, look, this is only $2. She will pick up stuff like that like all the time. So even for my mother, who says she won't spend money on things like that, really does. You're just doing it as a sell or a promotion, or, you know, get the $7 thingamajigger, and people are like, wow, I can get that. And then it gets them into a conversation with you about something else. So if you're a coach, great. If you're trying to figure out how to find more clients, get them in on those micro sales, because they may not be able to spend $2,000 with you right away. Create the passive income to draw the people in to know you more. And if you would like to be connected to my friends and do videos and ads that pop up in a gamified phone app, I'd love to talk to you more about Wowdable. And you could go to wowdable.com. That's WOWD like dog, IB like boy, LE.com. So Wowdable. And let's have some fun. You know, that's what it's all about. It's making a lot of income in micro ways.